What's up, everyone? How are you today? And this is my review for Avengers 2: The Age of Ultron. Now, I'm just going to go ahead and say this. The minute I walked in and sat in that seat and the movie started, I was already excited. I've been excited for this movie for a long time, ever since they showed us the first trailer. I haven't really been keeping tabs, but I've been trying my best to keep up with it. Especially after after the trailer that they did, where it shows Thor and or Captain America and all them trying to lift Mjolnir. And so I've been kind of just what I usually do with movies, but this was a really good movie. I enjoyed the story, I enjoyed the action, I enjoyed the acting, the chemistry. I enjoyed it all. But this is going to contain spoilers. Avengers 2: Age of Ultron is about, of course, the Avengers, and of how when Ultron, when he is created, he starts absorbing information, and he sees us humans as the cause of what's wrong with the world. And so he sees the only way of fixing the world is to destroy us. So now it's up to the Avengers to stop him, to stop his plan and save the world again. Now, I have never read anything about Ultron. I have watched a couple videos from Variant Comics, and they did a history of Ultron. I don't remember much from it, but the way how he is created in this film, I actually think is really good. I've heard some people say that they didn't like it. I don't know, I guess because it wasn't right with the comics, which I've never read anything with Ultron in it, but in this movie, let me tell you first on what sets it up. It shows us the twins, Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver, and they show us what they both can do. And while they're in the movie, they're trying to get back Luffy's staff because Hydra still has it. So they're still going after Hydra. And so we see Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch are fighting the Avengers. Quicksilver takes on Barton, and he unfortunately cuts him up pretty bad. But Scarlet Witch, we find out that they both hate Tony Stark later in the film, and so what she does is she uses her power. When Iron Man gets into the room where Loki's staff is, she puts this image into his head, and he starts having a dream. And it shows him in space, and it shows the same spaceship that he destroyed in the first Avengers movie, but it shows all the Chitauri that were left, or that are possibly left, and all the Avengers are dead. All of them. Thor's dead, and we see Captain America's cracked shield. Captain America wakes up and looks at Tony and says, "This is all your fault." Or along the lines of, "This is all your fault. You didn't protect us enough. You didn't fight hard enough. You should have done more." And so this puts Tony back into a little bit of paranoia, which kind of takes us back to Iron Man 3. Now, from those who have watched Iron Man 3, Iron Man is having panic attacks about ever since he went up into space. And they base the whole entire thing of when him and Bruce Banner are trying to look at Loki's staff before Thor takes it back to Asgard. He's talking to Bruce about how we can't be prepared to take down something from space. You know, we can't do it. We can't stop it. There's not enough of us. And so Tony talks about how, what if we had kind of like a bouncer, something to protect them from getting to Earth? Because he doesn't think that they can do it enough. And so they talk about the Ultron project, but when he is scanning the staff, he notices something odd about the sphere in where the staff is that does the mind control thing. And he finds something that makes it seem like it's kind of thinking. And he shows Jarvis, and he shows what he's been working on, and he thinks about possibly combining something from the work that they got from the staff into this thing to create Ultron. They do it a couple times and nothing happens. But another thing that they took from Iron Man 3, from Phase 2. In Iron Man 3, he had multiple suits, and at the end, in the climax, he used them to take down the Mandarin. And so they had this because when they're all fighting in the city, he uses these suits to evacuate the people to keep them safe. And some of them get damaged. And so some of them get damaged, and so they all have to be fixed. All of them get scanned. But while they're having this party, and we get another Stan Lee cameo, but this time they're drinking, and Thor is putting the stuff in the drinks that's from Asgard, and Stan Lee is like, I protected this country, I've seen all I can see, what will this do? And he's drunk, and they're having to carry him out, and he says, Excelsior, which I thought was very funny. Stan Lee's always funny. A lot of cameos that he's in, they're hilarious. But my favorite Stan Lee cameo is from The Amazing Spider-Man. So anyway, after that, you know, it's the Avengers. It's all them. And so, you know, they're all sitting in the room and talking about, they're doing the thing that they showed in the trailer where they're all trying to lift Mjolnir. And so it shows all of them trying to do it. The only two who don't do it, actually, there are only 3 people that don't do it is Sherbatsky, Black Widow, and Bruce. And when they all try and lift it, of course, you all know the scene from the trailer. It's like, what is it? Some kind of trick only Thor can lift the hammer? He's like, well, it's something like that, but simply, you are not worthy. And then Ultron shows up, and then we have this battle with all of the suits. And after this, Thor actually takes down Ultron the first time when he's in that robotic suit, and he talks about how the Earth is, or he talks about like how humans are the cause of this, and how he's like, you all think you're here, something along the lines like, you all think you're heroes, you know, you claim that you say that you love the world, but you don't want it to change. We have to evolve. And he thinks that he thinks humans need to evolve, but we simply can't. You know, unless they talk about like, us working out and stuff, but that's not what he means. So after this, they all have a talk with Tony Stark about how he created it, but the main thing is they're upset because he didn't tell them. And Bruce knew about it. Bruce knew about it. He told Tony it wasn't a good idea. And when Ultron comes in, and after all that's going on, he's like, whoa, 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 no, you did not. You did not do what I suggested you did not, that you shouldn't do. And they're all mad at him because he didn't trust them. And he asked them, he's like, how are we supposed to take down something from space? How are we supposed to do that? We're just a couple people. How are we supposed to do it? And Captain America looks at him and says, together. And Tony didn't trust them. And so this is what starts to hit them hard. But it's when Ultron reveals does the first part of his plan, is where they get hit really hard, and it is a very intense scene. There are some scenes in this movie that made me cry. There are some scenes that made other critics cry. Frickin' Jeremy Jahns. But you know, he said the movie was awesome-tacular. But there were some scenes in this movie that made me cry. One of my favorite things in this movie is the relationship that they have between Bruce Banner and Natasha. Because they do this thing whenever he turns into the Hulk, she calms him down. She says it's time to sing. She does this thing called where she sings a lullaby, but she doesn't really sing a lullaby. It's something where she touches his. It's anything that she does, really, that's supposed to calm him down, and it works. And so like they're building this relationship, and on throughout the whole entire film, they want to make it. Natasha wants to make it work. She thinks it can work. Bruce doesn't because of the Hulk and how he doesn't think he can control it, but Natasha does. And this isn't a relationship where, you know, oh, it's forced. It's not. It starts out nice and it keeps going at a very nice pace. It's not forced. The relationship, it's not like it's not a relationship that you wouldn't believe. It's not. They don't force you to. Heck, I'll compare it to the relationship of Alan Grant and Elliot from Jurassic Park. Now they're already a couple, but they show us just how they are, or how they are together as a couple, and this shows what chemistry. It shows what good chemistry that Natasha and Bruce Banner, that Mark Ruffalo and Scarlett Johansson have. They have great chemistry together. But let's talk about the... One thing that they never show us is where Ultron gets his very first body. And I'm not talking about the Iron Man suit that he uses. I'm talking about... Because Scarlet Witch knew what was going to happen when she put that thing into Tony's mind, and they come back to the place at the beginning of the film, and they see Ultron sitting in a chair, and he's just in his body. Now, the actor who played Ultron did an amazing job. James Spader plays a good villain. Now, Ultron actually surprised me, because all the trailers that they showed him being very cold and calculated. But when we see him for the very first time, or where we see him in his body, the way how he acts actually isn't what I was expecting. And I wasn't disappointed. Oh no, I was blown away. Because he's a menacing villain and he cares nothing for humans, or he supposedly does, but he thinks that the best thing for us is to be destroyed. But the way how James Spader plays Ultron, he's funny, but it's not like Lothar from Power Rangers Ninja Storm. It's not forced comedy. It is... There are some funny bits with Ultron. Like how they had the scene with Hulk and Loki, where Loki was like, bow to me, you brute, and where Hulk smashed him, and they got a good laugh. This scene, it's after everything that has been said and done. Ultron's really damaged, and he's in a plane. Hulk jumps in the plane, and Ultron says, "Oh, for goodness sake." There are some funny scenes with Ultron. Okay, but the scene where they get hit, where the Avengers get hit really hard. The plan is for while Quicksilver is distracting them, I want to say, Scarlet Witch puts dreams in their heads. And the worst one is Hulk. They don't show us what it is, but it turns him into the Hulk, and we see the true Hulk. My best example is probably, if any of you have watched if any of you have watched Thor versus Hulk, where Bruce Banner is not in the Hulk at all, it's the Savage Hulk. I don't think he kills anyone, and if he does, it wasn't, intentional. It's just him going through the city in Egypt, going on a massive rampage. While this is going on, Iron Man and Ultron are having a fight in the air. So, while this is going on, after he takes care of Ultron, he tries to fight the Hulk. And we see the Hulk Buster. And the way how they do it is, the Hulk Buster was in a satellite, and it shoots the Hulk Buster down, and he gets in the Hulk Buster. But what's really cool is the thing stays in the sky. Whenever he calls for it, sends more armor. He has more parts to it, so that way if he needs to switch to something, or if it gets damaged, he can have more fighting. And there is a very funny scene with Hulk and Iron Man. He's fighting him in the Hulk Buster, and he makes him really, really mad. And he looks at Hulk and goes, "Huh, sorry." And he just drags him through the city, and it's a beat down. It is a real beat down. And after this, they're all hit hard. Natasha gets kidnapped. There is a really good fight between Ultron and Captain America. A couple of the Avengers have one-on-one fights with Ultron. Iron Man, of course. Thor actually gets a one-on-one fight with him, and so does Captain America. But the thing is with Ultron makes you feel like he is taking things to the next step. Like with Bane in The Dark Knight Rises, or like when Joker said, this city deserves a better class of criminal. And then Bane comes and he takes things to the next level. That's what Ultron is. We had Loki with the invasion from space, and now we have something from Ultron that's practically going to extinct mankind. And when they have this big brawl in the city, and he's lifting up a part of the city. Now, if they cut the machine off, and the city falls, it's going to kill millions or billions of people. But Ultron has done something to where if the city gets a little bit higher into the sky, it supposedly is going to wipe out mankind. But we have... There is some clarification. A lot of my friends were discussing if the Tesseract was what was in Loki's staff. No, it was not, because the Tesseract was taken back to Asgard. It was a different Infinity Stone. And they do something with Thor's dream. He goes and finds the professor from the first Thor, Professor Selvig, and he tells him about this river that he can go in that will allow him to relive his dream. And when he does, he sees that a lot of the Infinity Stones have been collected, from the Tesseract to the Wreath to the Infinity Stone from Guardians of the Galaxy. And he sees that all of them are aligned with the Knuckles. And the only one that they're missing is the one that is used to create Vision. And Vision is such a good character. He is played really well. I liked the actor who played him. I do not know anything about the character, so I don't know if he was portrayed right or not. But I really loved the way that the guy played him. And him and Ultron actually have a good fight, but out of the funniest thing in this whole entire movie. Remember earlier when I was talking about how they did this contest where they could lift Mjolnir? Well, he says, here, you're going to need this. And Thor looks, and he's holding Mjolnir like it's nothing. And everyone in my theater, including myself, got a huge laugh. We laughed so hard. And every one of the Avengers just has this look on their face like, are you seeing this? No, he just picked up Mjolnir. Are you seeing this? He picked up Mjolnir. We could not pick up Mjolnir. And so it was just really, really, really great. But now, Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver do become Avengers. But it's only until when they get this thing, they get this tomb or something like that has a being in it, or he's creating a being. And the way how they do this is because when Hawkeye gets damaged, they put him in this machine that actually repairs tissue. And so he uses Loki's staff to brainwash her into creating a new type of being. And when Scarlet Witch puts her hand on the thing, she sees nothing but destruction. And she's like, you said that you were going to help mankind. And he's like, I am going to help mankind. But it wasn't the way that they thought, and they decide this is wrong. And thus they go to the Avengers. Now, another good thing about this movie is we get more focus on Hawkeye. And we find out that Hawkeye not only has a girlfriend, but has a family. And it's here, when they go to his house as a safe house, where we get really good character development. We get development between Captain America and Iron Man. We get more development with with Scarlett Johansson and Mark Ruffalo, of them wanting to be a couple. And Scarlett just, dang it, I keep calling her by her Natasha is talking to Bruce about how they could have something like what Burton and his wife have. But Bruce is like, I can't have this. I can't have none of this. And Natasha says, neither do I. And one thing about her dream is it's a flashback to her childhood and all the stuff they went through. And she says that when they graduate, they do something to their body. And I'm guessing they did it something to where she couldn't have children anymore. And it's a very sad scene. But after the battle is all over and Hulk throws Ultron out of the plane, she tries calming him down and saying, come on, we can't track you during stealth mode. Hulk turns the stealth mode on, and then he leaves. And it leaves a very empty hole for her. But at the end, all the Avengers go their separate way. Thor goes back to Asgard to see about what and all the stuff has been going on with the Infinity Stones. And the movie ends with Captain America and Black Widow having the new team of Avengers, which consists of Falcon, Scarlet Witch, Vision, and War Machine. And there's an end credit scene. It shows, I didn't see it in the theater, but I seen it online, and they have confirmed that Spider-Man is going to be in Civil War. Because he's like, hey, you missed a spot! Because the guy's cleaning the windows. And it was great. But guys, this has been another episode of Phenomenal Views. Put in the comments below, what did you like about Age of Ultron? And the reason I think you should see this movie is because it is a blast. It is a fun ride. You will not be bored. You will have an amazing time. Guys, hit subscribe, hit the like button. Have a good day.